All right, everybody, what's going on? It's your boy Tyson 4D, Tyson 3D, actually, coming back at it again with yet another car talk, car convos, I guess you could call it. So I haven't done one of these in a while, but I decided to do one today because I guess I've had a lot on my mind. I've been watching a lot of really good content, had a lot of really good thoughts that I wanted to share, and I'm going to do them right here, right now, in this format. I am going to be driving during this video, so if I lose my train of thought, you're gonna have to bear with me. But I really don't think that I will, especially when I actually get on the road, start driving for real. Shouldn't be an issue. So here's the thing, man. The best advice and the best, what would you call it? The best, I guess, strategies I can give you right now that will help everybody watching this video is to, number one, address your mindset monsters. You have a ton of mindset monsters because they are ubiquitous, meaning that everybody has them and they're everywhere. And chances are you have probably a few. You have a few that are absolutely beating you, right? Beating you down every single day, kicking your butt. You have a few that you probably have in control. You have a few that you're getting a hang of. A few other ones that are probably coming into the picture, right? If you don't have one, you're going to have one soon. That's how mindset monsters work. Another guy in a Corvette over there. But that's essentially how it works. And I hope that's not shaking too bad. Probably is, but oh well. It is what it is. You guys can bear with me here because actually, no, it's probably not that bad. And we're in the Corvette, so it's going to be a little bit of a bumpier ride than if we were in the truck or something. But hey, man, it's all good. But man, there's so many, so it's kind of hard to even know where to start. But I know one, right? And it really is probably the most basic one that there is, but it's true, right? People always ask, are you sure this stuff works, or do I really know I can do it, right? Does it work, and can I do it when it comes to anything? So when it comes to any goal, I mean, the obvious one is financial because, you know, I'm known for finance and stuff, but there's also like health goals as well. I'm somebody who is also really big into health, really big into working out, really big into the gym. I'm tracking every single morsel of food that goes into my body. I always track my calories. Every single calorie is tracked, everything. So I'm somebody who knows a lot of different, I guess you could say, realms of this lesson, which is believing it can work for you, just believing it works and believing it works for you, right? And really, it comes from developing the mindset of just, what would you even call it? I would call it the mindset of trusting yourself, the mindset of being able to trust yourself. Because when you can trust yourself, that's when you really have the confidence that you can do anything, right? You can do anything. There's an example that I love to give because it paints this picture out so perfectly. Right? And it also leads me to another mindset monster that a lot of people battle with, but I'll tie them in together as well as I go on. But essentially, the mindset monster here, and just the situation I'm talking about, is when people ask me, Tyson, what do I do when I get on a sales call with somebody and they ask me to do something that I've never done before? Like, or they say, well, I have to know how to do everything before I even close a client, right? This is with copywriting. Now, it can be with anything. Obviously, there's going to be mostly copywriters watching this video, but it doesn't even have to be with copywriting. It can be with literally anything. So the example here is people are like, oh, well, I need to know how to write emails, write video sales letters, write YouTube videos. I need to know how to create email automations. I need to know how to build a funnel before I can even start outreaching, before I can even look for clients. And this is completely backwards every single way. And people still say, I still see in my comments, Tyson, you're giving people false hope. There's no way that you can just get copywriting jobs or you can just get clients without actually knowing how to do everything that there is, without being a master first. And there's a few parts here, all right? And this is the next mindset monster. I guess I'll just reveal it right now. And that is thinking that you need to be prepared or you need to be ready. There's no such thing. There is literally no such thing, because here's the bottom line up front. Here's what it is. If you go into a position you are going to feel completely out of place. It doesn't matter how many training videos you watched, doesn't matter how many times you've practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, you are going to feel out of place. If you don't feel imposter syndrome, you're not pushing yourself enough, because that means that you're doing something you're already comfortable at doing. I've had a lot of 9-to-5 jobs, and also growing up in school, I changed schools so many times, right? Because I moved around a lot as a kid, because essentially I moved from living with family member to family member to family member. I just lived with basically all my family members, and I lived with like a bunch of different families growing up. So it would be to the point where I would move from one school and move back to that very same school like 3 months later. And I'm just like moving every single couple months. But I was the new guy and went into new situations over and over and over and over and over again, and had to adapt to change, right? Maybe that's one of the reasons as to why I was able to adapt to change in a business context. But the point still stands that you're going to have to just be the new guy. There are so many times where I was the new guy, and probably you as well. And eventually, 3 months later, 6 months later, a year down the line, something funny happens. And the thing that's funny is that now, it's so hilarious seeing people look at this car. That is really funny. Oh man, it's just sorry I got off track, but this girl was really cranking her neck around trying to look at the Corvette. But dude, you're going to be the new guy, and what happens, which is really weird, is that 3 months in, 6 months in, 1 year in, that new guys are coming in. You're no longer the new guy. You're now the seasoned veterans, and the new guys are coming to you for advice. They're asking you how to do this stuff. All you have to do is just stay in the same thing for long enough, and that really is it. The number one rule of reaching any one of your goals, whether it's 10K per month, whether it's getting shredded or getting lean or building muscle or whatever it is relationship-wise, the number one rule is just don't die. Don't die, and that is to say just don't give up. Just don't give up, because you can always quote-unquote respawn. You can always respawn, as in if you fail, if you mess up, if you do something wrong, you can always come back again, right? You wouldn't believe how many awesome copywriting opportunities or business opportunities that I had, and I let them slip through my fingers because I just made silly mistakes, that now if I were to go back knowing what I know, I'd be able to like kill those positions. I'd be able to make the most out of those opportunities. But there's no use crying over spilled milk. This stuff happens, and you're going to have to let those opportunities go and build again from scratch. And the fear here, and what stops so many people from actually making any progress, is that they think they have to learn and learn and learn and learn and learn before they can start to get any results. When the fact of the matter is, the easiest way is just by doing, is just by trying. And we can take it out of the context of copywriting, right? Because I don't want to make everything just completely revolve around copywriting, even though that's what I do and that's what I talk about, that's my profession. It still applies to anything, right? Life principles can be applicable anywhere. So what if it's drop shipping? What if it's posting on social media and you're trying to get followers, you're trying to build an audience? It's like, dude, if you post and nobody looks, you don't have to go watch 25 more videos. You don't have to go and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. What you should do is just post and post and post and post and post. And the way that I like to think about it is your first 100 social media posts don't matter. Your first couple hundred outreaches don't matter. They don't count. You're just building the skill. You're just doing it anyways. And if you don't like that, you picked the wrong thing to do. Like you just, if you want, like I'm a realist. I'm very, very real with people when it comes to making money online and actually achieving their goals. And you know what I've been reading lately, which really perfectly ties into this. What I've been reading lately is Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule, right? And I've been listening to the audiobook. But one of the best parts that I really liked when I heard him say it is you have to assume that getting to your goal is going to be 10 times harder than it's going to be. Because oftentimes it is. And here's the thing, is that when I went into copywriting, when I went into business and making money online, I knew it was going to be difficult. But man, that stuff really, I don't care how much you think it's going to be difficult, it really will be 10 times more difficult than you thought. 10 times more difficult than you thought, because I put my all in it. I cut off everybody. I sacrificed everything. I spent money I didn't have on courses, on programs, on mentorships, and I still was flat broke. And I still basically was at square one, but with the added benefit of invisible progress, right? Another topic that I can kind of talk about. And the reason why I'm talking so much about, like, I don't like the word mindset, but the reason why I'm talking about these sorts of things and not very specific tactics when it comes to business is because these are going to be the most useful. They're the most useful because they're the most applicable in the most situations. People want tactics, but tactics isn't actually what they need. And it brings me back to the point I was talking about, which is people really don't recognize invisible progress. They don't recognize invisible progress at all. All they want is physical progress. And the problem with physical progress is that it's a lagging indicator. And I'll explain what I mean. If we're talking about money, for example, money is a lagging indicator. Let's say you're outreaching for copywriting clients, right? And you're trying to get clients and you're trying to make money. And you got a client, right? You got a client on your 8th month, and it's a $2,000 client. People will think that you got that client from that outreach, and that's where the opportunity came from, and that all you needed to do was that one outreach to get that client. When in reality, that client took you 8 months of learning to get. And let me expand on my point if it's not hitting for you quite yet. Is that here's how I like to think about it. Every outreach you do puts money in your pocket, even if it's just a little bit. So I'll give you another example. If you send 100 outreaches, let's keep the number simple, and then get a $1,000 deal, that's essentially what? $10 per outreach. You just earned $10 per outreach, right? So it's all of the cumulative things that add up to eventually getting the result. So people don't understand that, and they think that on month 8, if they don't have a client, then they've made no progress. No, that's not true. You're 8 months ahead of the guy who just started. You're 8 months ahead of him. You have 8 months more skills, 8 months more practice, and just 8 months more just under your belt, right? You have a distinct advantage that other people don't have. And I get it, bro. It's tough. But, man, I've met people out there even like who went farther than I did, because I started making really good money probably like 8-9 months in. I've known dudes who didn't make anything from copywriting for 2 years, right? I've trained them, my one-to-one students, dudes who didn't even make any money for 2 years, but stuck with it and kept investing in themselves and kept going and kept going and kept going. And these dudes were smart. They had good work ethic. They were literally doing things right. And it still didn't come for them. And then bam, eventually it did. Eventually it did, and eventually it all paid off. And that's always how it works. That is always how it works. You will be tested. A metaphor that you can use, right, whether you're religious or not, is God will test you to see how bad you want it. And if you don't want it bad enough, then you're going to quit. And he's going to say, well, he doesn't deserve it because he didn't really want it anyways. Because here's the other part, right? Here's the other crazy, crazy part. I have a few lines of thought that I can go through right now. First and foremost, people say they want it so bad, they want it so bad, they want it so bad. If it was given to you, you wouldn't appreciate the opportunity and you wouldn't put your best foot forward. And I'll give you an example. See, you think you will, but let me give you an example. People say, oh, well, Tyson, I want to invest in this mentorship, right? Let's say it's not even mine because I don't even want to put myself in here. Tyson, I want to invest in this mentorship. I'm like, okay, why? They're like, I know I can make it work. I know I can make money with this. I know I can do it. And there's absolutely nothing that will stop me. I'm the hardest worker in the world. I'm going to be your top student. There's nothing in the world that will stop me. I will do anything to be in this mentorship and to whatever, make it happen. And let's say that the price is whatever, out of their price range. Let's say it's $1,000 mentorship and they only have $200. They're like, oh, well, man, can I get it for $200 instead? Or can I just can you give it to me for free? And then when I get a client, I can pay you. So you're telling me You're giving me this whole speech, this whole TEDx speech on how you're going to be the hardest worker in the whole wide world and that you're going to crush the competition, yet, when it comes to just earning a couple extra bucks, what? You can't like just go out and get a job, or if you already have a job, work a little bit more or get another part-time job. Like, dude, I've known dudes to really go out there and get a job and do some Uber Eats just so they can afford mentorships, just so that they can afford courses and programs and more things to invest in themselves. And that's exactly what I had to do. See, it's really not about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. I know that when I had to put up money for my first mentorship, I know that my thing was I had to sell everything, dude. I had to sell pretty much all the things in my apartment, right? All the things that are in my apartment, even if I was using them, I just had to sell them. I had to sell like my old phone, my TVs. I just had to sell basically all my electronics. They're just gone. Just sell all of them. Don't need them. Rather not have them. And that's really just it, dude. And I also took out a credit card. Like, bro, whatever you can do. But that's the thing, is that people are saying that they're going to sacrifice anything for it. And here's the thing. You know those kids who get a Ferrari? Their parents buy them a Ferrari, and then they drive it like a dumbass, and they crash it because they don't value it? That's what people are like when they get copywriting clients they don't deserve. And they think they deserve it. They genuinely think they deserve it. They'll tell you up and down, swear that they deserve it. They'll tell you why. They'll give you all these reasons about how they're hungry for it. But they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it because when they get it, they don't put their all into it. It's like if you can't... Here's the other thing that I like to think of. People tell me, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. If you're not resourceful for yourself, you won't be resourceful for your clients. I'll give you another one. If you expect your clients to invest in you, why do you refuse to invest in yourself? It's another thing to ponder. That's what I always think. And it doesn't always have to be money. It could be time, it could be energy, it could be money. There's lots of things to invest in yourself with. And you always have to invest with a combination of all three. See, that's the other funny thing, is that people are like, Tyson, can I do it for free? It's going to take more time and effort. Well, what if I pay? Then it's going to take less time and effort. It's still going to take time and effort. And the more you pay, usually, the more time and effort, the less time and effort you'll have to work on it. But it's always going to take time and effort. That's just what it is. That's always how it has been. That's how it has been with everything. It's not anything new. There's nothing new under the sun. This is always how it's been. But people, oh, they say, oh, well, man, I really want this, and I really want to make it happen, but yeah, man, I don't want to pay anything, and I want it quick. Like I don't have to like send a whole bunch of DMs, or I don't really want to put myself out there. I don't want to get on camera, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. And here's the best way to really think about it, and something that really shifted my mindset. I'll put it this way. Make a list of everything you want your client to be, because you have to really know your client. You have to really know what you want from the universe. Make it an exact list of what you want them to be. You probably want them to be punctual. You probably want them to be consistent, right? Consistent with your page, just consistent in general. You want to work with clients that are go-getters. You want to work with clients who are going to stop at nothing at success, because that means if you work with them, you're going to be part of their success. So make a list of everything you want from your dream client, and then be that list. Be it. You want consistent income, but you don't put in consistent effort? The universe is simple. It's thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed and transferred. Meaning that if you put energy into it, you're going to get the exact same amount of energy out. If you're inconsistent, your results are going to be inconsistent. If you are going about things haphazardly, your results are going to be haphazardly. Your results are going to come haphazardly. That's what I mean. But you get the point. And that's one of the biggest mindset monsters that people have. That whole line of thought is just, I think that I'm good enough. I think that I can make this, but saying the excuses, but I don't want to invest in myself, or I don't want to try too hard, or I don't want it to take too long. And right, expecting things from the universe, but not being able to give it back to them, not being able to pay the price first. Not to mention the people who just doubt that they can even make it. Oh, well, I seen that, Tyson, you trained lots of other people to do this before, or I've seen other people do this, or I've seen other people with the body that I want, but it just doesn't work for me. Why? Why would it not work for you? Man, the fact of the matter is, dude, life has many ironies, and one of the biggest ones is that being successful in things like business or just financial in general, health-wise, relationship-wise, it really is only, I don't know, a very small amount of it is actually skill. Probably 10% is skill. 10% is skill. 10% is maybe productivity, right? The actions and how you prioritize things. And 80% of it really is and does come down to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. When times get tough, what do you do? How do you respond, and how do you react? Because if you're someone who's trying to make it, I like to bring up the relationship between, like, copywriter and client, because it's the easiest for a lot of people to understand. And it just makes the most sense because that's what I think about and talk about all the time. But let's go into it then again. Is that sorry, I just joined a parking lot. I'm inside of a parking lot. I'm turning around. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I've got to concentrate for just a sec. Got to figure out where I'm going to turn around here. All right, I got out of there. I kind of lost my train of thought, but I do remember what I was talking about, and it's about how the majority of your results are really going to come from emotional intelligence. When times get tough, what do you do? All right, because here's the thing. Yeah, when you work with your client and things get tough with them, because they will. Like, you think you're going to hop on with a client, they're going to be a dream client, they're going to ask you for a couple things, they're going to love everything you do, you're going to make a bunch of money, and it's going to be smooth sailing from there? No. Business is all about solving problems, which means there has to be problems present. So if there are no problems present, then you're not in business. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You have to have problems, because businesses who are staying the same have problems. Growing, they have problems. When the business is dying and shrinking, it has problems. So it's just nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. There's a little car meet over here. I'm checking it out. And so again, I kind of lost my train of thought, but let me just cut to the chase of how do you actually address this issue? How do you address this issue? How do you fix it? How do you make it not a problem anymore? And it really is simple, right? You could just say, oh, well, just don't give up, or just, be resourceful, or just keep at it and keep your hopes up and always keep your belief. But what does that even mean? What are the actual action steps to that? Well, I'll definitely give you some of the things that have worked for me, right? Because if I just talked about people's problems, not really how to solve them, it wouldn't really help many people, would it? It would just make people feel like, oh, well, shoot, I kind of suck. Okay? Which I've watched lots of videos that made me feel like that. So when it comes to fortifying your mindset to defend and become impregnable against negative thoughts, or as I've referred to previously, mindset monsters, the greatest things that I've done for myself is a few things. Oh yeah. Sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful. First of all, learning stoicism. Learning stoicism. I can't tell you how many stoicism books that I have, stoicism podcasts that I listen to, stoicism audiobooks, everything I consume, right? I consume stoicism on a daily basis. Next is Christianity, right? That really works for me. Whatever your religion is probably works as well. If you're not a religious person, that's probably fine too. But again, I wasn't a religious person at one point, and I kind of thought about it. And how I think of it is that religion and Christianity specifically is essentially man's first self-help book. That's what I think of it as. So I'm able to suspend my disbelief, right, and not get too in the weeds about like religion and whether it's true or not. Like, these are things that really don't matter. I just take it for what it is, and I use it in order to just improve myself, right? To build my belief and to understand a few things. One of the biggest things that it helps me really realize and feel is integrity, right? Integrity. Someone's always watching you, right? God or whatever it is, you're always being watched, even when you think you aren't. And it is very true. Even when you think you're going to get away with something and it's a quote unquote like victimless crime sort of thing, like, it always comes back to haunt you. It always comes back to bite you. And even when you think nobody's watching and you do a good deed, someone's still watching. You're still going to get credit from that, from the universe, right? Not that you should do it to get credit back, but the question I like to ask myself is, are you selfless enough to donate heavily anonymously? Are you selfless enough to donate heavily anonymously? This is something I've done before in the past. And the thing is, like, nobody praises you. Nobody even says thank you. You're literally asking for nothing. You're not one of those YouTubers who's like shoving the camera in the homeless guy's face. You're like, hey, I just gave you $5,000. How do you feel, bro? Or just like gets homeless people to do weird things for money. Like, I don't know, right? You're not exploiting people, or you're not even just like, asking them to say thank you. You're literally just doing it out of the kindness of your heart, and you understand that the universe is going to give back to you anyways, right? So it's not even a loss to yourself, and it's an investment. So you can give while feeling really good for it, while feeling really good about it. Man, what's that? A Kia Stinger. That's a nice car, man. I like Kia Stingers. Kia Stinger GT. They're all-wheel drive. I'm pretty sure they're about 350 horsepower. Not bad, but end of the day, I'm going to say what everybody's thinking. Still a Kia. But nevertheless, so number one, stoicism, studying it, understanding it. Number two, faith, right? Faith, religion, getting closer to God per se. Number three is keeping the fire in all different types of. I was at the Vault conference, right, which was basically a business conference ran by Patrick Bet-David, and something that he said that really stuck with me was creating three different vision boards, or 3 vision boards that are based on different things. And while I can't recite it verbatim, I will paraphrase. And essentially goes like this, right? One of them should be, of course, you visualizing your trinkets, because this is a very powerful source of motivation, right? And I think that you should use every type of fuel that you can get. Why not? Why wouldn't you use every type of fuel you can get? It's like, to make a car run properly, you don't just need gas, oil, lubricant, windshield wiper fluids. I mean, some things are more important than others, obviously, right? But if you can have it, if it's a nice to have, you might as well have it, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to have some sort of trinket or wanting to reward yourself, because it's important. So what is it going to be like? What is it going to feel like? And there's 2 more, but I'll just roll it into one, which is just like your legacy. What do you want that to look like? What do you want people to say when you're gone? What do you want to teach your bloodline? What do you want to stand for? What do you want to do in business? What do you want to accomplish? What are the big things you want to achieve? What do you want to be known for? Right? What's the change that you want to see in the world? And a really good question to ask is, what are some of the things that you hate to see? What are some of the things that you hate to see? Me personally, I really hated to see people who worked jobs that they weren't taken advantage of, or they weren't exploited, but they put themselves in a position to where they go to work every day and lament it. They lament the fact they have to work every day. They get the Sunday scaries, which is essentially on Sunday, you are dreading work on Monday, right? Because the weekend is the only time where you get to do essentially anything, right? You want to do anything, it's only on the weekends. And on the weekday evenings, essentially it's too late for you to really do anything. You're tired, right? You don't feel like it. You also don't have much money, probably. I spent most of my time around construction workers, people in the military, and security guards. So that's where that comes from. And essentially, long story short, I hate to see people in that position, but I want to help people build a life that they don't feel the need to. Dude, are you serious? Oh my God. Dude's just crossing the street at random points in the road. Insanity. I want to help people build a life that they don't need a vacation from. I want to help people build a life that they don't need a retirement from, that they're not looking forward to the weekend. Because all of these things essentially mean just one thing, right? Which is indulging in escapism. And I essentially want to help people build a life where they don't feel like they have to escape. Like they don't feel like they just like are dreading what they're doing, or they want to get out of it, or I mean, you're always going to have problems, right? And this is another thing that I want to bring up after this. You're always going to have problems. You're always going to have issues. But I want to help people essentially be challenged in life, right? You have those challenges, but instead of just feeling like, oh my God, I have to go to work today, blah, 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 is just doing what you love. Because it's just as the saying goes, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I feel like that every single day. And I'm so thankful for everything that I have and every opportunity that I have. And I really do believe that work ethic is a reflection of gratitude. And that is why I work so damn hard. And I love every minute of it. And I'll never stop. I'll never, ever, ever stop. Technically, I've retired at 24. But at the same time, I never will retire. Because I can stop working. It doesn't really make any difference. I can put all my money into the stock market, get 10% per year, and still make really good money. Thousands of dollars every single month on average, and be fine. Never have to do anything again. But I'm good. Don't want to do that. I don't want to set up some passive income scheme where I never have to work again, or no 4-hour work week. I'm good. I want to build things. I want to build things. I want to make things. I want to make my imprint on the world, because I think that that's what we're here for, right? It's so funny that people ask, what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life? You're asking the question when really the question is asked to us, and it's our responsibility to answer it. What's the meaning of your life? So people just think that the meaning of life is just, I don't know, just something that's out there, or something that someone else can answer for them. But you choose. Everyone's in particular life has a meaning. And that's what I want mine to be. And that's what you should focus on, and what you should make yours if, again, you want to use that sort of motivational fuel for yourself, which is essentially the third way that you can overcome the mindset monsters that I've previously laid out. Now, there's another one that I kind of reminded myself of that I'm going to talk about again. And that is, wow, I'm really learning about my city a lot right now, because I didn't know all these places were interconnected. So weird. I've never gone this way before. I've never gone that way. I've never even been around this area. I've never been around that area. And now I'm really learning how everything's connected. Crazy stuff happens when you just drive. But the next mindset monster is that your biggest problem is thinking that one day you will no longer have any problems. Your biggest problem is thinking that one day you will never have any more problems. Because I'll tell you what, man, you're always going to have problems. More money, more problems. More good things in general, more problems. Because when you have good things, people want to take them away, right? Like, everybody wants good things. It's essentially like Tate always says when he talks about everything is competition. It really is. Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Dude just has to wave to me. Dude, it's hilarious. Anyways, like I was saying, this car, man, I should have took a more inconspicuous vehicle out. I'm getting interrupted and stuff. Anyways, like I was saying, you're always gonna have problems, dude. It's like Andrew Tate says, everything's competition. The car you want, somebody else wants. The girl you want, somebody else wants. Everything, every dollar you want, somebody else wants. So you have to deserve it more than everybody else. And you don't deserve it if, again, you don't actually work for it. If you don't plan on working for it, if you don't actually work for it, if you don't do something to get it, you're never going to have it, or you're never going to keep it, right? So you will always have problems. There will always need to be effort exerted. And let's just go through a scenario where there isn't. You don't need to exert any effort at all. You're somebody who makes $1 million a month passively, in profit, into your bank account. You don't have to do a damn thing. That's the life you think you want? There's a word for that, and it's called purgatory. If you don't know what purgatory is, essentially it's between heaven and hell, where it's just like nothingness. It's nothingness. You just feel empty. You feel completely empty inside. And people think that they want this. They think that this is their end goal, their end state. This is awful. There's just nothing cool about that. There's nothing good about that. What are you going to do all day? Oh, I want to sit in the sand. I want to sit on the beach. The beach. Now, me personally, I never understood the appeal of the beach. But, like, bro, you're telling me you just want to lay in the sand all day and play in the water? Like, that's what you want your whole life to amount to. Bro. And here's the thing, is that you would probably love that lifestyle for a month, maybe for a couple months, maybe for a year. But think of it, after 5 years of having everything you want and playing in the sand, building sandcastles or whatever people who go to the beach do, what next? What next? Now what? That's why, to me, it's literally purgatory. You're not doing anything. You're not growing. You don't have anything to do. You're financially taken care of, which is fine, but then what? And realistically, you're probably just going to fall down the trap of hedonism. And there's an expression that I heard lately, and it was a really good expression that paints the picture of hedonism very well. And it was called the hedonic treadmill. If you don't know what hedonism means, it's essentially worldly pleasures. If you're a hedonist or live a hedonistic lifestyle, it means like you're always at the club, you're always wondering like what girls you can get with next, and you're always eating fatty food. You're just indulging in short-term pleasures, nothing but short-term pleasures. And the hedonic treadmill essentially describes how it's one of those emotions where I call it a relative emotion. It's a relative emotion, meaning that the more of that emotion you feel, the more your body will adapt to that, right? So it's kind of like, let's say steroids. With steroids, eventually, or let's say testosterone, right? When somebody is taking testosterone, their body says, okay, look, I'm getting all this testosterone and I'm not producing it, so I don't need to produce it anymore. So now that person always has to take testosterone for them to have normal levels. Otherwise, if they ever stop, their body's not going to create any more because it's already adapted to that level. And it's the same thing with hedonism, right? So if you're somebody who, let's say, you need to go to the club every Saturday in order to be happy or feel a level of happiness. Let's say the level of happiness is 100, right? 100 happiness points. And that's for going on Saturday. Well, eventually, your body's going to adapt to that to where now you only get 50 points. So in order to get 100 again, you have to go Saturday and Sunday. And now you're getting back to that 100 points. But your body adapts to that. Eventually, you're going to be the person who goes to the club every single day and, eating garbage every single day, and your body is so used to this high dopamine things that you're completely fried. Your dopamine centers are completely fried. People do this with stuff like TikTok all the time. They sit there and scroll, and now their attention span is literally less than 2 seconds. They can't focus on anything for more than 2 seconds because they've now trained their brain, and their brain's adapted to doing nothing but sitting there and scrolling, and something new. It has to be new constantly. Something has to be new, right? So obviously, actually, I guess it's not so obvious. The best way to overcome this, right? And this is absolutely probably the best piece of advice that I'll leave you with, is you have to lower your tolerance for happiness and for pleasure. This is the best thing I ever did, and I went crazy with this. I went absolutely crazy with this. I was to the point where I wouldn't go out with friends. I wouldn't talk to people. I wouldn't text anybody. I wouldn't post on social media to get validation from people. I wouldn't eat junk food. I wouldn't even eat spices on my food. I wouldn't eat salt. I wouldn't eat pepper. I wouldn't eat hot sauce on my food because I didn't want my dopamine receptors to adapt to anything higher. So what this allowed me to do was work on my business effortlessly and gain happiness from it, and gain enjoyment from it, and gain dopamine from doing boring things that I overall didn't want to do. Now, does everybody need to do that? Depends on what your desired outcome is. Right? My desired outcome was really tough. I'm not one of these dudes, these dorks, these Miami balcony boy gurus who come on talking about, bro, like my first month I made all this money, and my third month I made $1 million. You can do it too. Just buy my course. No. I think that's lame as hell. And I think that, honestly, just building a business like that in general is so short-sighted. But I digress. It really will take a lot from you. And that's one of the best parts, is that every goal that you set, the goal, the attainment of your desired outcome, isn't actually the reward, as much as you might think it is. Now, it is a reward, but the main reward is who you come in pursuit of your goals. It really, really is. Because I've changed into a completely different person than I was. I was that dude who never really tried much at anything. Terrible grades. Nobody cared anyways. Nobody looked at my report card, so I just, whatever. Terrible grades, failed classes, didn't care, whatever. I'm just going to grow up. I might become a mechanic or something, do a trade, have a one-bedroom apartment, play some video games. That's all I need. I was one of those guys who was that's all I need guy. I just want to be happy. I just want to have my basic needs met, and that's all I need. Can you believe that? And now, dude, I want it all. I want it all. Not because I care about the trinkets, not because I care about a dollar amount. I don't care. It's just extra zeros. It doesn't matter. I know who I'm going to turn into in the pursuit. And I know that it's going to make me a professional problem solver. It's going to make me as, competent. It's going to make me as competent as possible. And that's what I really care about. Because I want to be the person who can serve the people in my life, who can serve my loved ones, who can serve my friends, who can serve the people that I care about. So that, again, if stuff hits the fan, if anything goes wrong, I'm the person that they can call. I'm the person that they can count on. And I'm literally talking like zombie apocalypse level. People say, oh, well, there's never going to be a zombie apocalypse, blah, blah, blah. Sure, maybe there won't be. There probably won't be. Right? But it wouldn't hurt to prepare. And if everything went to hell and we were in a dystopian universe and, stuff was just going wrong altogether, I would not want to be that dude hanging out at home making just enough. Just enough to get by, just enough to be happy, just enough to have my basic needs met, because what's going to happen? I'm going to get murked ASAP. I'm going to be out of shape, I'm going to be overweight, and my mental is going to be awful. If I was in a survival situation, dude, I'd be like, no worries. I can live life just happy like this. Whatever, disease, famine, I'll figure it out. I will legitimately figure it out, and I believe that, and I'm cool with that. But other people, I've asked people what they would do in a zombie apocalypse, and they were like, oh, just off myself. I'm good. If I can have my video games, if I can have my TikTok, what's the point? And I don't ever want to be like that. I don't want to think like that. That's just not me, right? That's not me anymore. And I have one thing and one thing only to thank for that, to thank for my complete change in mindset. And that is simply the struggle. The struggle taught me so well. So well. And I know it very well. I know the struggle well. And I'm so glad that it taught me. So if you're listening to this right now, if you're watching this right now, chances are you're probably going through some sort of struggle on your own. Actually, not even chances are. I know you are. Right? And you want to be. So embrace the struggle. Don't run from it. And understand that you should fall in love with your problems and not with the solution. Because the problems are there to make you better. And the problems are your teachers, right? They are teachers. Think of it like you're literally getting a university scholarship, essentially, and you don't have to pay for it. And you know what that is? That's your issues, that's your problems, that's all of that. So every problem you solve or even don't solve, you learn from and get better from. If there's a problem and you solve it, then now you're smarter. Now you're smarter, you know how to solve it, you've overcome. You reach that problem again, you'll know exactly what to do. If there's a problem and you don't solve it, and the bad thing happens, it's going to do two things. First of all, it's going to show you shouldn't worry about things, because when bad things actually happen and things mess up, you're still going to be fine. It's not going to be the end of the world. So many people catastrophize. Oh, well, if this happens, and that happens, then this happens, and that happens, and then everything's going to be bad. It's funny because people think that once the bad thing happens, that you're stuck there forever. It's like, okay, what next though? Oh, well, if I get a client and then I don't know what to do next and I mess up, then what if they ask for a refund? I'm not going to feel good about that. It's like, yeah, okay, and then what? Well, and then I guess I would outreach and get my next client. Yep. I guess you'd outreach, you'd get your next client, you'd know, all right, whatever I'm doing sucked, or the person I was working with sucked, or I got to refigure out my strategy because what I did just didn't work. And that will make your decision making so much easier. So much easier. People try to choose the right decision so often. Like, I'm just a decision maker in my life. I make the decisions for everybody. If there's a decision that needs to be made, I don't even care. Sometimes it's like a big decision, really matters. I don't care. I'll flip a coin. I'll be fine either way. What if it goes wrong? Probably will. Probably will. What law is that? What law is that? I forget. Someone's law. Not Ohm's law. Not Laszlo's law. Someone put it down in the comments. But there's a law that states that anything can go wrong, will go wrong. And it is true. And that's what we're here for. Business is literally being a professional problem solver. Life is being a professional problem solver. So solve them.